Just when you thought the year couldn't throw anything else at the world, it has. Locusts, a lot of them. Just half a square mile of swarm has up to 80 million locusts packed in it. And while the locusts may not be eating their way through the U.S., they are wreaking havoc from Africa to Asia to the Middle East. It's a huge problem for food supply in countries that are already struggling to deal with the coronavirus pandemic. And what's worse, if these record numbers of locusts aren't controlled now, the upcoming rainy season could make it a true disaster, like famine-level disaster in the eastern part of Africa.
Considering that there's 20 million people in the region already in, acute food insecurity, which is one level below famine, you can understand, the danger.
What exactly is a locust? Well, basically, it's a kind of grasshopper, common to dry or arid areas, and normally, when they're on their own, they lead pretty boring lives. But when they get together, it's different. In a crowd, everything about them changes. Their color, their behavior, their appetite. They reproduce like crazy, and those crowds grow into swarms, and they're ravenous for crops, any kind of vegetation. They aren't fussy. They destroyed nearly anything that's green and leafy. East Africa, Yemen, Iran, Pakistan, India, they're all on high alert. Even South America has them too. The threat is unprecedented, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, of the United Nations, where locusts have their own Twitter account and a division of experts tracking them. The FAO says that ultimately we can blame climate change. Extreme weather events, in this case 2 cyclones, triggered heavy rains over a remote part of the Arabian Peninsula, creating these ideal conditions for desert locusts to breed unabated. Countries juggling the pandemic, drought, and conflict lack the tools to deal with this plague too. In the fields around Gotki, Pakistan, this is how farmers are trying to save their crops, banging pots and pans to scare away the locusts, or at least keep them on the move. Local officials aren't convinced it works, but they realize people don't have much else to try.
They have fear in their mind that this pest may cause a considerable loss to their field crops.
Over a third of Pakistan is effectively one big locust breeding ground, which is a threat to the whole country and its crops. Spraying teams with pesticides were apparently mobilized too late.
You can not completely eradicate the locust, but you can minimize any pest.
The problem is that locust swarms don't stay put. They travel with the wind and fan out in all directions, across borders, eating their own weight in crops every day. A half-square-mile swarm eats about the same amount of food in a day as 35,000 people. And there are a lot of half-square miles of swarms.
How are locusts stopped?
Really, the only way to try to reduce the population numbers is aerial control. And it's aerial control of chemical pesticides as well as biopesticides for the first time this year. But this requires a lot of logistics, good organization, very good information, from countries that don't often have, the foundation or the infrastructure for this.
Cities are getting them too. Last month, clouds of locusts invaded parts of New Delhi, India's capital. At one point, China was apparently going to send thousands of ducks to Pakistan to just eat the problem, but it never happened. There just aren't many options, and the $300 million the FAO is trying to raise for containment campaigns may not be enough. Now the monsoon rains are looming, bringing the perfect world for locusts to breed, and people may be able to do little more than stare up at the clouds, then watch the fields vanish.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.